Carly, did you know that I've been carrying Northwest Naturals since we opened Odyssey Pets in 2006? And I've been feeding it to my Brussels Griffon, Vinny, since he was only 11 weeks old.
That's amazing, Sherry. And you know, I love how Northwest Naturals is new and improved with real whole ingredients. No synthetics, and that includes all of their products, freeze-dried, raw, toppers, and treats.
That's one of the reasons why Northwest Naturals is so special. Every formula is made without shortcuts in a family-owned and operated plant in Portland, Oregon.
That's right. With over 70 years of experience, it's all done in their USDA facility, never third party.
Combine that with their support for independent retailers, and you've got a brand worth trusting.
Northwest Naturals, real food, real support.
Learn more at nw-naturals.net.
And right now, Northwest Naturals is offering an extra 5% on GAP ISOs for current clients, plus an extra 5% on any new ISO for new clients.
Just use promo code PetShopGirls.
Trade. Pet Shop Girls. Unleash your power, let's make some waves.
Hey everybody, I'm Sherry.
And I'm Carly.
Welcome back to the Pet Shop Girls podcast.
Woo woo.
So we got a good one for you today. And I want to start out by saying that, let's say you started a pet store, okay? And let's say you had no idea about the pet nutrition world.
Mm-hmm.
That was me.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that there's several others out there that were like me or are like me. So what we're going to do, it plays a big role in an independent pet store. Nutrition does.
Big time.
Big, yes. So we're going to break down some common issues and myths that customers that may come to you and some selling points. What makes your food stand apart from food they can get at the farm and feed store? You know what I mean?
Well, and how do you overcome those objections that are based on myths, right? That's like saying, I'm never going to go swimming again because the Loch Ness Monster exists. We don't know that. I mean, he could be a myth.
You're right. This is pet nutrition is so controversial and it shouldn't be.
It's the new politics. Yeah. It's the new politics. Yeah, for sure. And I mean, oftentimes, so when pet parents come into your store and they're like, oh, no, my dog must eat this special food from the vet. Well, how come? Well, because he has a sensitive stomach. Okay. So what happens when he eats food? Well, he threw up. How many times? Once. Oh, how long has he been eating the GI food? Because we know that's what they put him on. And it'll be like, well, for his whole life since he's been, a baby and he's 7. Oh, okay. So you have to overcome those objections that are based in myths without offending the customer because you are truly there to educate. And
right.
And
it's a fine line without, how to not be pushy and look like you're talking bad about maybe the veterinarian that recommended it.
It's how to dance with the devil in the pale moonlight. Okay.
Oh, that's perfect. Yes, exactly.
Well, so you definitely, you don't want to offend the pet parent. You certainly don't want to discount the vet, but when you truly want to educate. And I think before we get into any of these myths, I think if we take a step back and come out of the sales mind, even though we're calling this episode the nutrition myths that are killing your sales, we have to step back when we're having those conversations with the pet parents and not think like, I'm trying to sell you my food. What we have to lead with is genuine intention to educate and empower that pet parent to make the best choice for the animals that they share their lives with.
We're all here to help the pets anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So
it just so happens that Fluffy doesn't control the credit card. So, right. That's why we want to improve the pets' lives. But in order to be able to do that, we oftentimes have to try to overcome those myths that pet parents are believing and have for decades.
Right. What's your tagline for your store, Carly?
A different breed of pet store. Oh, but you're thinking about what's on extending the lives of pets through nutrition.
Love it.
Yeah. So I know that, and you've talked about it openly before. When you opened your pet store 1900 years ago,
Not that old.
a long time ago,
But
because she's older than she lets you believe, folks. She's older than that.
Yeah, well, I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know anything. Okay, quick story. Here's what happened. Well, we had Royal Canin come in and be like, "Here, you need this bulldog and Yorkie food," and we're like, that seems weird. But I was flipping through one of the industry magazines, I don't know, Pet Business or something, and I saw an ad for Eagle Pack, old school, back in the day Eagle Pack.
Mm-hmm.
Their packaging was colorful. I really liked it. And so I contacted them and they said, here, contact this distributor. Well, that distributor sent a rep, and that rep, I can't thank enough. She educated me on all the things. So, and look, this was back before Facebook, before all of these groups, before Pet Shop Girls could help you out, you know? And so there wasn't a lot of resources to turn to, or as Carly would say, resources.
I say it the right way, yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of other avenues you can go down these days, but there's also a lot more controversy, I believe, too.
So what you're admitting to me, Sherry, is that back in the day, you were actually picking your pet food the same way that I pick a bottle of wine. By the way it looks.
It was colorful. It was pretty. Yeah. I still do, though, on that. I'm sorry, you can have gold in that. I say this all the time. You can have gold in that bag, but if the package is ugly, nobody's going to buy it.
True. We've talked about the importance of packaging before, but what we have to remember as pet pros is if we pick by packaging, so do your customers. So just like you were talking about, Sherry, with Royal Canin talking about the bulldog and the Yorkie food, that's 100% marketing tactic, because they know that as pet parents, we will buy anything that has the furry face of our little creature staring back at us. So of course, anything with a Yorkie on it, I'm buying. And if I didn't know what I know now, I might even buy Yorkie food because it's got a Yorkie staring back at me.
Mm-hmm.
I was a little bit different when I was opening my store, and it probably came from my corporate training world. And so let me explain that, because that, how does that translate into pet food and nutrition? What I kept thinking is, as a corporate trainer, I was going out and I was training people on different technology and what have you. And I wanted to make sure that I knew my stuff, because I wanted to be that expert that they could lean on and go to, and I had the answers. And when I was opening my store, I felt the same way. I thought, I need to know my stuff. I cannot have random pet food sales dudes walking through my door telling me that their food is the best thing under the sun, and I wouldn't know any different. So I certified in pet nutrition. I certified in raw nutrition. I certified in advanced canine nutrition. I found all of these, fresh feeding advocate groups like Rodney Habib, Dr. Karen Becker, Dr. Judy Morgan, all of the greats in our industry. And I became the sponge, and I'm still learning. I mean, every day I still learn, but I make a point with myself and with my team to continually pass that information on to customers. So when a customer comes into my store and says, oh, no, my dog has to eat a special food from the vet, I start the conversation. Well, did the vet indicate how long Fluffy should be eating that food? Did the vet explain what specific ingredient in that food is going to fix Fluffy's problem? Like all of these things where I'm having this conversation.
You poke holes in it.
I kind of do.
Yeah.
But I'm dancing that dance with the devil in the pale moonlight, where I'm not offending the pet parent, and I make it perfectly clear. Listen, this is not about your vet. I respect all of our vets and what they do for our animals. Unfortunately, they are steered down the wrong path by the big pet food companies that come in and give them their 1 day of nutrition training. And then, of course, I've got all my props in my store, right? So then I point to my big poster that says, who makes your pet food? And it says right there that the Royal Canin is made by Mars Chocolate Bar. And the customer's mouth drops and they're like, what? And I'm like, mm-hmm. And so the conversation continues, and that customer leaves feeding a food out of my store feeling good about it and then comes back and goes, holy crap, I can't believe the difference after one bite.
Right. Once you get them to try it, that dog is going to be like, oh my gosh, thank you
finally
for feeding.
Real food. Yeah.
Finally meat. Yeah.
Listen, oh my goodness. I'm going to tell a little story. I'm not naming names, and I really can't name names because I don't know it. But I did have a conversation with a rep who, I'm not even going to name the food right now, but they used to work for Royal Canin. Okay. And so what he said is, when I worked there, I could get past that they swapped oatmeal for rice, and I could get past that they started using cornmeal. But I couldn't get past when they came to us and said, the reason we are now going to use byproducts in the food is because there are children starving throughout the world, and we can't take meat away from children.
What?
Yeah. When he told me that, I was like, can I press record and you could say that again? Anyway, so I don't know his name. And so I apologize if you listen to this. I'm not outing you. And that's why I'm not saying the company that he works for now. But it's known. It's known, right? We know this when you're in the industry. When you're not in the industry, I mean, I listen to the commercials. The commercials that told me this food was great and that food was great. And, look at all of the fruits and veggies in there. It wasn't fruits and veggies.
They're falling from the sky. I remember that ad. Yeah.
And it was painted kibbles, pellets of ick. That's what I call it in my store. Painted pellets of ick in my dog's food. And I bought that food for Zane.
Yeah.
When I first got him, because I didn't know any better. I'm like, oh, the commercials always say this food is good. But our customers are experiencing that same overwhelm from all of these big pet food companies that have very deep pockets and beautiful marketing because they hire their marketing wizards. And you would think that a dog would live forever if they were eating kibble.
Right.
Hey, my pet pro, have you ever wanted your own branded line of quality pet chews like Sherry has?
Yeah, and you know where I get them? Aardvark Pet Products. They're my secret weapon because they offer a private label program just for indie pet stores with low minimums and no hidden fees.
Which means that you can put your name and your logo on high quality chews without the big brand hassle.
It's a game changer for indie pet stores ready to boost margins and build their brand.
Check out everything they have at aardvarkpet.com because it's time indie retailers got the upper paw.
That's ARTVARKpet.com. Use promo code PetShopGirls to get 10% off your first order.
So let's talk about some of these nutrition myths that as pet pros, we want to overcome them if they're being presented as objections, educate and empower our customers, and ultimately, at the end of the day, it will improve our bottom line because we are going to increase our sales by moving animals from a lesser quality food or somebody who's afraid to feed raw because of all the bacteria and they've never wanted to try it. Like, that's a myth too. So let's start going through those myths, Sherry, and we're going to start giving lots of helpful tips for how retailers can overcome this.
I just want to emphasize the education part because I have that same poster of who makes your pet food. And it'll take somebody that's on the fence about trying something new and push them over.
Yep.
And I also have printed out flyers because I'm old school, so I can hand them something. I can hand them a resource. Of course, it's all online as well, but yeah, education's where it's at. Okay. Yep. Myth number one.
Wait, I will also add, I just added to my poster. I'm so excited about this, you guys. The new poster that I have that sits beside my Who Makes Your Pet Food, and it lists all the usual suspects.
Oh, yeah, you just showed me this. It's so cute.
It now says feed with caution, and it's like caution tape at a crime scene. And then I've literally got like images of all of the different suspects that are made
like
by
the grocery store brand food.
Grocery store brand, yes. The big box brands, the crappy treats, rawhide, it's all in there. And that the whole purpose behind that is to start the conversation. It's a conversation starter. So that's the whole idea behind having these types of props in my store, is to educate, but also to further the conversation. Because if somebody walks by that and sees their brand and it says feed with caution, and then they see their bag of pet food and they're like, what? It starts the conversation.
It's pretty genius. I wouldn't want to feed it anymore either.
Right?
Yeah. No, it's genius. Okay. Myth number one. We're finally getting into it. Grain-free causes heart disease. This one's been going around for a few years now.
8 years.
I can't believe it's been that long.
Yeah.
So the myth is grain-free foods cause dilated cardiomyopathy. And it is since been disproven. Man, there's a lot of ground to cover on this one. Carly, where do you want to start?
Well, okay, so what's funny and what's easy for me in Canada, and so for any of our Canadian pet pros who might be facing this still, though this myth has been going around for 8 years, it has only been going around in Canada for the past 5. So there, when pet parents come in and say, oh, my vet said, my dog cannot eat a grain-free diet, they must eat grains. One of the first things that I talk about is the fact that for the first 3 years that this myth has existed, it was contained to the USA. And what's funny is if grain-free food was actually impacting our dogs' hearts, wouldn't that be a worldwide problem? How come it wasn't an issue in anywhere else but the States for the first 3 years? Then it filtered up to Canada. And I mean, so we have an infographic that is we have a binder behind our counter that is all full of educational infographics and educational information, very nicely presented, all the things, laminated pages that we can pull out and we can discuss with the customers. So we can pull that out to show here is all of the actual research. But one of the things that I ask customers all the time is, do we have scare wolves? And we don't. We have scarecrows because wolves and dogs don't naturally hunt grains. So it's not part of their ancestral diet.
You don't see them in a cornfield.
No. Munching down the corn, right? Going, geez, I wish this was a meal. So, you start to have that conversation and you start to really poke holes in that myth. So that you can debunk it and then show the customer that there is no science behind this. Then you start to talk about if you want to support, and I kind of tend to end this conversation, or not end it, but before I go into here's what I would recommend, I usually say to them, listen, grain in or grain out is entirely your choice. I don't ever want you to feed a grain inclusive food thinking that you're protecting your animal's heart, because that's not how it works. If we want to protect the heart, we want to feed a taurine rich diet, which means meat, and then we can also feed heart.
So I tell people this: to make a kibble, you have to have a binder, and pretty much no binders are necessary in a dog's diet. And pretty much you want to pick the lesser of all the evils when it comes to that. I prefer low glycemic, and millet is a grain and it's low glycemic. So, I'm not going to hate on grains here, but they are not necessary in the diet.
No. And that's I want the customer just to know when they're walking out, you can feed grain inclusive if you want, or you can feed grain free. It is entirely your choice. Understand that when a food includes grains, your carb count will go up, but you're not protecting the heart. If we want to protect Fluffy's heart, then let me show you some freeze-dried hearts, or let me show you, a taurine supplement that I have, because that's how we're going to protect the heart. And I always say to them, we protect the organs or support the organs by feeding the organ. So if we want to protect and support the heart, we feed heart. We want to support the liver, we feed liver. We want to support kidney, we feed kidney. You want to support the eyeballs, you feed eyeballs. And I know that sounds gross, but feed them a sardine, feed them a duck head, feed them something with eyeballs to support the eyes.
Look, we could go on and on about this one. I'm sorry, this is very cursory level stuff. For a deeper dive, we might post some more on our Substack.
Oh, not might. It's in there. So if you have not joined our Substack yet, you want to join Pet Shop Girls After Dark, because we actually created a guide that you can use with your team that kind of gives you these conversation pieces of how you can work this in and help your team overcome these objections if this is what's kind of preventing us from making sales in the store.
All right, myth 2, raw is dangerous because of bacteria.
Mm-hmm.
So the myth is that raw food is unsafe for pets and families.
Yeah.
But the truth is, it's safe when handled properly. I mean, you're not going to touch a raw piece of meat and then not wash your hands, right? I mean, just wash your hands. And actually, there's more salmonella risk with kibble than there is raw food.
75 times more. 75 times
That's
more.
a lot.
Yeah.
Oh
and you think about it, okay? Junior, your little furless hound in diapers who walks over to Fluffy's bowl and grabs a handful of the kibble to and spill it all over the floor. There is more risk that your kid just picked up bacteria that way than if they touched raw food, because raw food probably won't be in the bowl that long because the dog is going to eat it quickly and then you wash the dish.
Well, and I want to say this too, and I may not have this stat right, but if you go to the grocery store and you look at like 5 packages of chicken thighs, 10 packages of chicken thighs.
No, 5.
Sorry, Carly just held up hands. Okay,
because I thought I knew where you were going, but you carry on.
Okay. I always heard it was 1 out of 5 packages of, say, chicken thighs has salmonella in it and will test positive. But the reason the FDA lets it through to the grocery stores for human consumption is because they know we're going to cook it.
Right.
Now, with the pet food manufacturers, they're highly tested, like tested more in a lot of cases than the human food.
And there's zero tolerance for bacteria. So
exactly.
Your stat, maybe it should be 10, because what I have always heard is in the grocery stores, they will allow up to 10% of bacteria in our meats because we're going to cook it.
Yeah.
So maybe I was right. Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe it's 1 out of 10. Like I said, I don't, but anyway, it's still, either way.
It's allowed in our food. It's not in theirs. Yeah.
And I did not realize that years ago. And that stat definitely caught my ear.
Mm-hmm. Sherry, as pet parents, we've all had that fear. What if our dog eats something they shouldn't, like chocolate or grapes or even a bottle of human meds left on the counter?
Exactly. It's happened to me. And that's where Ready Rescue comes in. It's the first of its kind vet-designed at-home solution for accidental pet poisonings. Something that's truly revolutionizing what pet stores can offer.
And that's huge because until now, pet parents had no real tool that they could keep at home. Everything was messy, bulky, or only available at the vet. But Ready Rescue changes that. It's clean, it's easy to give, and it's designed to buy life-saving time on the way to the clinic.
And it's not just on retail shelves. Over 200 veterinary hospitals already trust Ready Rescue in clinic. That credibility makes it a no-brainer for stores.
Exactly. Like, think of it like a fire extinguisher for toxins, like something you hope your customers never need it, but when they do, it could save a life. And every modern pet store should carry it.
Stocking Ready Rescue puts your store on the cutting edge of pet wellness. To order wholesale today, visit www.getreadyrescue.com and use promo code PetShopGirls for 10% off your first order plus free shipping.
Sorry, my Canadian friends. This is for new U.S. customers only for now. But if you're a retailer, this is a product you'll want on your shelves. Okay, so myth number 3. I'm going to push you along here, Sherry, because you're really taking up a lot of time.
Oh, come on.
Okay, that kibble is complete and balanced forever. So I'm going to elaborate on this a little bit more, because where we've heard the myth, I guess, is that pet food companies, typically the big guys, will tell us that you find a food that your dog loves and you stick with it for a lifetime. What they're banking on is our lifetime, not the animal's lifetime. They figure that if Sherry fed dog A this food, then she will feed dog B and dog C and dog D, and she'll feed that food for her lifetime. That's what those big pet food manufacturers are banking on.
And it's easier to just go in, see the bag that you always buy and just buy the same
one. Yeah.
You know?
So one, no living creature ever. And all of the things that I'm trying to say here literally are things that I say to my customers and that I hope are helpful for you as pet pros to also have these same conversations with your customers. But no living creature on the face of the planet should eat an ultra-processed diet for a lifetime. We have been told as humans to eat less processed food and more fresh, whole foods. Our animals are the same. Over and above that, feeding the same thing, you're going to hear customers say, well, every time I change Fluffy's food, he gets sick. Yeah, but because you've been feeding him the same food for 7 years. If we as humans ate nothing but chicken and broccoli for 6 months, on that 7th month, if we tried to eat steak and potato, it would hurt. Because our body isn't used to eating steak and potato. It got lazy and it only knows how to process chicken and broccoli.
Right. The variety is the spice of life. It
For
helps
everybody.
the gut. It helps the gut microbiome. I mean, we're told as humans to eat a rainbow of foods.
And our pets should too.
Yeah. They shouldn't eat chicken even if you're feeding the highest grade diet you could think of. You still want to switch it up. You don't want to eat chicken for the rest of your life.
And I mean, so the easy stepping stone here, again, if we bring this back to, yes, we are here to educate and empower our pet parents. But at the end of the day, we still have to pay our bills, right? So if we've got a pet parent who says, oh, no, like I can't change Fluffy's food because he has to eat, this kibble and it's only, it's made for dogs and all the things. One of my first go-tos is, are we sharing food with Fluffy out of our own fridge? Oh, no. And lots of pet parents wear this as a badge of honor. Fluffy does not get table scraps. And I'm like, give Fluffy the table scraps. In fact, what I have in my store, and then I talk about okay, what are table scraps? I'm not talking about cut that rendered cooked fat off your steak and throw it on the ground and then peel off the icky part of the potatoes peel that you don't want and throw that into his bowl. No. I'm talking about you have a salad with some cucumbers and some bell peppers and some carrots. Give some of that to Fluffy. He probably won't like the lettuce, but he'll love the bell peppers and the cucumbers and the carrots, likely. Before you cook your steak, you could cut off a little chunk of that, including the fat, not rendered fat. This is why Fluffy got sick, because we just gave him a bunch of cooked fat.
That's a good point. I like to tell people this too, especially ones that come in saying, my dog is overweight, I need a low-fat food. No, you don't, because fat is how they get their energy, whereas carbs is how we get energy, but carbs will make them fat. So they're like the opposite. But yeah, this is interesting too. The rendered fat is what could eventually cause
pancreatitis
or contribute to pancreatitis, but a raw fat is different.
So if I've got a customer coming in my store who is still going, well, hang on a second here. I'm in a pet store and you're not a vet. You're not a doctor. And I'm, dogs are supposed to eat kibble. So I'm just not sure about all this witchy poo magic that you speak of.
Oh, witchy poo.
Well, if they're very conventional, I may seem witchy poo. So one, I am extremely generous with my samples. I will give them samples of absolutely every single flavor and every single brand that I have. I'm not doing this blindly, though, and I think I've talked about this on the show before. I have a little postcard that basically on the back, I have all of my different brands, and I can list that I gave them lamb and pork and beef and chicken in whatever brands. And on the front of that card, it says, once you've figured out what your dog's favorite food is, bring this card back and it's worth $10 off the first bag of food that you buy. So that is how I'm seeing that I am very successful in my sampling, giving out the samples. Now, I also tell them when you take these samples home, put them, lay them all out on your counter, just like I've done, because I usually lay them out on our front counter. And I lay them out in order of processing, from ultra processed to least processed, because I'm giving them everything from kibble to freeze dried. And so then I'm like, this is our most processed, this is less processed, this is even less, and this is the least processed, blah, blah, blah. But I tell them, go home, lay it out like this, open them up, put a little bit on the floor, and let Fluffy get involved in selecting his new favorite food. And then I have magnets that I give to brand new customers or people who have never been in my store that basically say, these are all the fresh foods that you can share with your dog right from your own fridge. And I give them 2 magnets because I have a secondary magnet that also talks about the healthy, good stuff. Of
course you have 2 magnets.
Well, there's more stuff than I could fit on one magnet. But then the second magnet also has a little section that like, here's the stuff we never share. Chocolate, grapes, xylitol, like all that
Gotcha.
stuff.
I did the shareable foods magnet too. And I was skeptical at first because to me, it's common sense what you can share and what you can't with your dog. But people thank me all the time. They're like, I look at the magnet all the time. To see what I can share with my dog. Yeah. And it's very helpful. Plus, it has your logo on it. So they're looking at your logo every day on the fridge.
And website.
So what we can do, we can share our magnets in our Substack so you can see what they look like.
Yep. And I actually have the magnet templates on my houseofpawspetpro.com. So you can literally download the magnets that I give away. And I do give these away because I want my logo on every fridge in Regina and surrounding area. But you can download that template and then you add your logo. I've left space for your logo. And then you can hand out those magnets. So the 2 magnets that I'm currently using is food you can share from your fridge. And then we have another thing that, hey, if you want to make like an enrichment mat, start with this, like start with some pumpkin or some yogurt, then add some berries and add some tomatoes. And then you can add some egg. And then here are all the things we don't ever want to feed. And actually right now I'm just about to, I haven't done it, but I have I have several magnets designed. I just haven't ordered them. But the next magnet that I'm ordering for handouts, because 6 years in, I've been handing out these magnets for over 5 years. People still love the magnets. We're still getting new customers all the time. But my regular existing customers that have been with us for 6 years, they have those magnets. But what they don't have is natural remedies for common ailments. And that's the next magnet that I'm printing to hand out. Anyways.
Oh, well, that kind of leads us into the next myth, which is supplements don't really work.
They're just a gimmick, just to make more money.
Well, do you think supplements for humans are a gimmick?
No. And now I think that supplements, we obviously need
Some
to
can be.
100%.
Quality.
They have to be quality supplements. But when you have supplements that you are using with your own pets, as a store owner or your team is using with their own pets and they see the benefits, they see the results, supplements just became very easy to sell to customers. You as a pet pro have heard this 100 times. I need something for my dog's joints. My cat has a UTI. Fluffy is anxious all the time.
Right. A lot of times people will come to their independent pet store before they even go to the vet's office. And a lot of times we can help them out with natural remedies so they don't have to use some harsh medication from the vet's office.
That is going to destroy their gut and then cause more problems anyways.
Yeah, and probably it's harsh on their liver too.
Yep.
But back to joint support, I just want to say this real quick because a lot of people will be like, well, I need a large breed food for the joint support. Look, that's all well and fine, but it's never enough. There's never enough glucosamine in there. Yes, there might be a little bit, but it's not a therapeutic amount.
No.
So I always tell people, get the highest grade base of food that you can afford for your lifestyle, and then buy quality supplements.
Well, and here's the other thing too. Like so many pet parents and many pet pros believe that joint support doesn't happen until a dog's later years. And I'm telling my customers daily that we want to start joint support from babies. It's so critical to start, especially if they're eating kibble, especially. But joint support all the time. But here's the other thing. So senior pet foods that are designed for seniors are just adding additional glucosamine and conjointin. But that dog is eating the same food over and over and over and over and over again, unless you have multiple options of senior kibble. I tell my customers all the time, because they're like, oh, my dog is 13, he should eat the senior food. Or you could literally feed him on all life stage food if you still want to feed kibble. And so you can at least rotate your proteins and the brands and all the types. And then you add a joint supplement, because that's the difference in a senior food.
Exactly.
It's just joint support.
I'm straight up with people these days. I'm just like, look, if you want a weight management or a senior food or a puppy food, I've got that. But honestly, it's marketing. A good food is good for the entire life of the animal. Puppies are just going to eat more because they're burning off the calories.
Yeah. And let's go back to those white bags that have the furry faces on there that are breed specific. One of the biggest marketing shams out there, because if it was true that a Yorkie needed a different type of nutrient profile than a Great Dane, then why is there not Yorkie puppy food and Yorkie senior food along with Yorkie adult food?
Well, probably because they didn't want to make that many SKUs.
Well, right. I mean, there's only so much shelf space in a big box. But I mean, it right there, it blows the theory out of the water that a Yorkie must eat a different food than a Great Dane. The only dog out there that is somewhat different is the Dalmatian with regards to nutritional requirements. That's it.
And why the Dalmatian? I forgot about this one.
It's purine or something. Don't quote me on that.
Oh, a low purine diet.
Yeah. So that's the only dog, right? And other than, and usually people who have Dalmatians are well aware of this. And so they know what they're supposed to be feeding. But aside from Dalmatians aside, it's every dog is going to have the same nutritional requirements. The size of the food is what matters between large and, small breed.
So I know we've done deep dives on supplements before, whether it was on Pet Shop Girls or Tip the Dish, but I'm sure we'll cover all of that again. That way we can go into like allergies and all that, because all that's so exciting, but we can't talk about it right now.
We can't. Okay. So we have to do our last myth.
Myth number 5.
Back to more white bags.
Prescription diets are the only option. Only vet-prescribed foods can manage conditions. Again, this is a wall we're all up against as independent pet store owners. And we've already kind of covered like how to attack that. I'm a little more straight up when I talk to people these days. And I'm like, look, your vet was not trained in nutrition. They're very good at fixing bones and doing surgery, but they don't know that much about nutrition unless they've done extra education afterwards, or if they're an integrative vet.
Yeah.
So that's why they should listen to you.
and well, here's the other thing too. And again, this is not a slam at vets ever. I have the utmost respect for what our vets do, because I couldn't do it. I cannot be the guy who cuts them or sticks them with needles. This is how I can help keep our pets healthy, is through nutrition. So if you follow me on TikTok or Instagram, you have likely seen the many, many, many videos that I've put out about prescription pet foods. I would say that I probably have about a 98% success rate in getting people and transitioning them off prescription foods onto a better quality food, and that animal starts to thrive and the pet parent is like, holy crap. Capture those stories as a pet pro. Capture those stories. Share them as blogs, share them as customer emails, share them as Facebook posts, share them as videos on TikTok. And I'm never slamming the vet, but I'm talking about the animal that came to me who was on a prescription diet for years and couldn't get rid of stones. Or I'm talking about the dog who came to me after years of being on a prescription diet and salves and medicines and creams and pills, and their skin looked like beef jerky, and we switched them to a raw food diet, and in 4 months the skin had healed and they looked like a brand new dog. Those are the stories that I'm telling. I just had a customer in the other day, and I have made the video. I have not posted it because I think it needs some polishing. I maybe was a little bit rough, but her dog had a reverse sneeze, and she went to the vet. because it had been about a month that this kind of started, that the dog had a reverse sneeze. And she went to the vet and she came into my store visibly upset, crying because, oh my God, we just got this terrible, diagnosis from the vet. And I'm like, oh my goodness, what happened? And she said, well, my dog has DCM. And I'm like, oh my goodness, how old? And she had the dog with me and all the things. And I said, so how did the vet diagnose this? Because she came in saying she needed to feed a grain inclusive diet because her dog has DCM.
Oh,
and I'm like,
gosh. Oh my gosh.
So I said, how did the vet diagnose this? And she says, well, let me show you the video. Okay. So she brings out the video and it's her dog having a reverse sneeze in the backyard. And I'm like, I'm sorry.
And the vet said it was DCM?
Because
That's
the dog
insane.
because the dog ate raw food. And this video, he said, I'm sorry, your dog has DCM. Dog's 5 years old.
Oh my gosh. No.
So,
okay. Well, the first time that I had a Chihuahua and the first time the reverse sneeze thing happened to me, I freaked out.
Oh, me too.
And then
I learned about reverse sneezing.
And then I learned about reverse sneezing, and it's nothing to really freak out about.
No, when Zaner still does it to this day. My big dogs never did it, but Zaner did. And like when I first I used to say like he honks like a goose. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So Maisie was the name of this dog. She's not that small. She's a medium-sized dog. But immediately when she showed me the video, I'm like, your dog is reverse sneezing. Anyways, she definitely felt better when she left my store, but she went back to that clinic and she's like, so apparently this is a reverse sneeze and you guys had put the fear of God into me that my dog had DCM and they gave her money back. She paid $700 for that diagnosis.
No.
Yeah.
Well, at least they did that. That's insane.
So they acknowledged, right? They acknowledged. So here's my whole thing. I feel like occasionally it seems as though I'm beating up on our vets, and I'm not. It's my issue is with the big pet food companies who are far too involved in our veterinarians' education.
It's the big pet food companies that are influencing them.
Mm-hmm. And then owning the clinics and all of the things. So
yes, it goes deep, y'all. I want to jump in here real quick and just say that SquarePet VFS food, once it came onto the market, I was like, oh, thank God, because I had been begging holistic food companies for years to come out with something that was like a low FOS or a low fat. Because if your dog has pancreatitis, yes, you do need low fat. Or if they just had a big surgery, yes, they need low fat. And all of the holistic kibbles out there, the fat level was too high. Mm-hmm. There wasn't anything out there until SquarePet came along, and it is veterinarian formulated. It just doesn't have all the garbage in it, no byproduct, and it's cheaper, and they don't need a prescription. And this vet, by the way, Dr. Travis Atkins, he created this because he was tired of, quote, prescribing food when there was no medication in it.
Yeah.
Well, there's no medication in the food, so why does it need a prescription, you know?
Well, and that's why there are so many class action lawsuits against prescription pet food manufacturers, because they're deceiving the public. The best thing about SquarePet, I will say, though, with their VFS formulas, is they are using functional food to address the problem. So I'm going to give you an example. We sell the Power series of SquarePet. We special order the VFS if we have a customer that requests that. But the hip and joint is made with turkey necks. That's literally Mother Nature's glucosamine source. When we get turkey necks in there. So SquarePet is using functional foods to address the ailments that most pets are put on prescription diets for. Anyways, like I said, I probably have about a 98% success rate when people come in my store and they say, oh, no, Fluffy has to eat special food from the vet. We get into a great big long discussion and they leave with a box or bag of food from my store and then come back going, holy crap. But again, my tip to retailers is when you have those success stories, ask your customer for that information. Like, can I tell your story? Are you okay with me sharing it in our customer emails? Of course they're going to say yes. It's about their dog. So, I mean, that's what I always ask my customers. I love this story. I love the fact that we were able to fix the problem with food. Can we share your story? And then I do. And then I repeat that story over and over and over again in my store to help other pet pros.
Awesome.
Pet parents. help other pet parents. I'm helping the pet pros today.
Let's try wrapping this up. I like this statement. You don't have to get into a science debate with people.
No.
You can keep it simple. Food is medicine.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes for humans too.
Mm-hmm.
People just don't want to hear it, you know?
Yep.
And supplements are prevention.
So, and then keep in mind, you're not there to match wits with your customers. You are seriously there to empower. You have knowledge that you can share. Find the way that you can do that is not offensive, that you're not making somebody feel like a bad pet parent or feeling stupid. I've had lots of pet parents say, "Oh my God, I feel so bad. I didn't know this." And I had openly admit,
we all did it.
We all did it. And I didn't know any better either. And when I didn't know any better, I followed the marketing and I did what I was told to do at the vet. I had a vet tell me, you can feed your dog the best kibble on the market and he may not do well on it at all. And you could feed them Old Roy and he would thrive on it. And I didn't know any better when he told me that. And I'm like, oh my God, I wonder if my dog would like Old Roy. Now, knowing what is in Old Roy, I'm like, oh, thank God I didn't do that. But the lessons that I'm going to say teach in my store are mistakes that I made as a pet parent. And I openly tell people that too. I share the type of content that I do to prevent people from making the same mistakes I made. So I've been there. I've been in your shoes. I know. And this is why I'm sharing my knowledge.
Love that, Carly. And that's why I pushed you to help me do this podcast. Because I don't want people to make the same mistakes I made when I opened my store as a business owner. So that's why we have lots of resources, not just this podcast, but we have our Indie Insider group on Facebook. If you haven't joined us, join there. Plus, we just started our Substack, and we hope to see you there too.
Yes. All right, Pet Pro, hopefully you got some nuggets out of this. And until next time, bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, Pet Pro, that's it for this week.
Don't forget to follow, like, and subscribe.
Just hit all the buttons.
And if you want more, join us in the Indie Insider, our private Facebook group for pet pros.
Then you'll never miss the podcast that makes you sit, stay, and beg for more. The Pet Shop Girls.
Pet Shop Girls.
You know, Sherry, when I first opened House of Paws, I was spending way too much time making documents that I needed from scratch. Employee handbooks, sales games, event planners, even little giveaways for customers.
I remember, and those weren't just nice to haves. They make your store run smoother and kept your customers coming back.
Exactly. Every document I created was because I needed it for my own store. And then I kept hearing from other pet pros, I wish I had something like that.
I said that too, and that's what I love. These aren't theory. They're used in a real store with real results. I use your event planner every month. And now any indie retailer can grab them, save time, add their logo, and use them too.
Right? So if you're tired of starting from a blank page, check out houseofpawspetpro.com and use promo code PetShopGirls to get 10% off your first order and see which documents can help you get your time back.
Challenge.